So I'm here to answer all your questions about Dubai. And I have my little book here. Thank you, Hillary. I have a lot of questions that I've been asked while I've been over here, and I'm gonna answer the questions relating to the application process. I'll answer the questions relating to the interview process, and then another video I'll answer questions about what life is like here in terms of work and things. It's just because I tried to make a whole video about everything together and it was like 20 something minutes. I was like, nobody wants to listen to my voice for 20 something minutes. So I was like, no, I'm going to try and cut them into short little segments. Okay, so number one, website application. Where did I apply? I literally went on to Guardian Jobs. I know TES also advertises lots of jobs abroad in Dubai, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, but I went on to Guardian Jobs just because I found it easier to navigate through the website. And I applied to a job, and it was a minimum of 2 years experience required in teaching. Most of them require about that amount of experience, but there's other jobs actually, they don't require a specific teaching experience. They require some sort of educational background or a degree that is transferable. So let's say biology, you can teach that, but you're not exactly a teacher. They will still hire you because they know that you have the skills and you might be able to communicate that. And I applied for a job through an agency called World Teachers. Okay, so if you go onto Guardian Jobs, you type in teaching and location Dubai, you could scroll down, or it's probably one of the top options. World Teachers has many positions on there. Click on it, it says apply now, send your CV through, and a little cover note, boom, done. So after that, it became a little bit more tricky because they started asking for documents and filling out forms and filling out this and that. That stuff takes some time, but just be patient because normally it's like, depends on you as well, how fast you can fill out the application, how fast you can attend the interview, things like that. Okay, so they asked me to send them scan them. So what I'm going to tell you, number one actually, before even I say anything else. So they're going to ask you to scan most of your documents through. Now, if you work in an office, you could just do it in your office, but I don't. So what I did do is I downloaded an app called Cam Scanner, and this helped me so much because I would just get my documents at home, use my phone, snap, snip, send it off. Okay, so try and get that app. It's really, really useful. So they asked me for now, because my DBS certificate was registered to my old school, my old workplace, I had to get a new one. It cost me about £50 or so, and yeah, I had to pay for that. So bear in mind that there will be some costs or some expense that you have to take on during this process. So after you send those documents through, they will most likely invite you for an informal interview. My friend told me that she didn't actually have to do an informal one, but I did. So informal just means that they'll do it over Skype or they'll do it over Zoom conference call. It's another app that you can download on your phone. So yeah, informal interview that was about 20-25 minutes, and they just asked me about my previous experience. They asked me why I want this position, why specifically did I choose this school and this role, you know, the typical interview questions. It was very informal though. Like, I think at the end I started chatting away to the lady. I was like, oh, how is it, you know, in Dubai, like, can you wear what you want to wear? And she was talking to me about how she really likes it. So yeah, don't be too worried about the informal interview. The formal interview, however, is probably the one that you could be a little bit worried about. The formal interview consists of 3 stages, okay? So the first stage is you go in and you do a 45-minute literacy test. Now, I am an English teacher, so that's why I had to do a literacy test. Others who are doing teaching maths had to do a maths test. I think there's also a science test. So the 45-minute literacy test was just based on like grammar, some spelling, and your knowledge of vocabulary. It was, I think, based at a maybe year 5 or year 6 sort of exam SATs sort of test, and I think the pass mark was about 60%. So after the 45 minutes test, you come out, and bear in mind the interview process is pretty long. I remember they sent me an email and they said I'd have to be available from the hours of 9 until about 2 or 3. That's almost a whole school day. So just take lunch, take some water, and get ready to chill. You know, bring a book along with you, just be reading. And because it was very long, it's because they had a group interview and it was about 300 people there. So I came out and I just sat down in the lobby area, and then they eventually called me after about an hour waiting. Yeah, it was pretty long. And I went in and I had to do a 5-minute presentation about myself, just tell them a little about who I am, why I want this position, things like that. And then I had to do a 7-minute presentation or teaching session where I taught like a really quick maths lesson. The reason I taught a maths lesson is because I thought that I would be teaching primary school, so I was allowed to teach any primary subject, but then I found out that they wanted me to teach in a secondary school, so I should have taught an English lesson. But anyway, it didn't really matter, they didn't really care. So I taught a simple maths lesson, and it was literally about 5 minutes. It felt like math is a very straightforward subject. It's like 2 + 2 is always equals to 4, okay? And I can show you that visibly, you know, because all you're going to have available to you is a whiteboard and whiteboard pens. They don't give you any other resources. So I brought along with me mini whiteboards. I brought some what are those things, counters, so that in case, you know, I really had to show my teaching skills, I would have resources there. I didn't need the resources, but they said that it was a good thing that I brought them. So if you want, bring in some extra resources. So I did that, and then I sat down, and then they asked me some more serious questions about, you know, when can I leave, what experience would I have, what in terms of behavior, because something that they did say was a lot of the students, they do get quite frustrated because of the language barrier, then they kind of lash out with bad behavior. So they asked me, did I have any, you know, behavior management skills, and I said yes. I worked in a school where I was actually the behavior specialist, so I had to work with children who had special educational needs, and because of their disabilities they sometimes displayed some challenging behavior, and I explained how I would calm them down in a certain situation, things like that. And then they gave me a scenario about, oh, a student is really demotivated in the back of the room, how would you motivate them? So I said it's really good to make students feel important and feel that they belong to the class, so give them some responsibility, you know, that every single day they have to, I don't know, write the date on the board. That will kind of give them some sort of value, because they'll know that, okay, this is my job and I have to come in every single day to do this job, because you don't want anybody else to do that job. Now I'm speaking based on a year 3 experience, because that's where I taught in a year 3 class. So coming over here and teaching in a secondary school was very different for me, but at the moment it's actually it's fine. I'm finding it okay, because you have to remember that these students, yes, they are older and they are more intellectual, but their English is very basic. They don't actually have much vocabulary with the English language. So yeah, so after you have done the interview, if you are successful, I think within 2 weeks they contact you and tell you whether you're successful or not. And if you are successful, that's when they send you a whole list of documents that you need to get. So if you do apply through World Teachers, bear in mind that initially there will be one agent that will be dealing with you prior to your interview. Then after your interview, there will be another agent that is assigned to you. So the first agent is somebody that is based in London, most likely. And then the second agent is somebody that is actually based in the UAE. So they will be asking you questions based on what the position in UAE requires, if that makes sense. So if they're in a school that requires, I don't know, a certain type of dressing, they will tell you about that based on what the school says. Does that make sense? So this person, unfortunately, will probably ask you to resend some of the documents that you have already sent to the old agent, okay? So that can be annoying, but just be patient and just send them. The quicker you send them, the quicker everything gets processed, okay? Bear in mind that that might be a little bit tricky. Then they'll ask you to complete an introductory form, which is just based on you, your experience, your education, things like that. Then they'll ask you to complete a medical history form. And then they'll ask you to send a degree certificate and then your degree transcript. Now, you're gonna need to get these attested, and I didn't know what that meant initially. So an attested copy of a document just means that it is proven to be a true copy of the original. Okay, so if you go on to www.gov.uk and you are going to type in legalized documents, and tells you what steps you need to take to get it attested. It's going to take you to a new page where it says get your document legalized. You're going to go to start now. After that, you are going to choose the service that you need, okay? So you can read there what services you require. Go on to the next page and it says degree certificate. You'll click that, or degree transcript. You can also click that. It's going to ask you, is it a copy or is it the original? You know, we don't want to risk losing the original. So you're going to send a copy of it to them. After you've done that, you'll need to put in your details of where they can post it to. And I actually want to put in some messages that I received from some people who contacted me regarding getting a job in UAE. I've given them some advice. So after following my advice, they've been successful. So yeah, I hope that my advice works for everybody else who wants to try and get a job over here. And I'm gonna end with some bloopers. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye guys. Don't forget to hate the calling. My friend told me that she didn't have to do an informal video in terms I did an informal video. It literally was together, and it was like 20 something minutes. I was like, nobody wants to listen to my voice for 20 something minutes. I don't even want to listen to my voice for that long.